morning, Stitch Roadies. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to start at, well, today, let me just say this. Today is going to be a WIP parade. Yes, Mania is over, and I want to share with you how excited I was that I got to find my WIPs again. So I'm going to go through now all the WIPs that I have, including the Mania ones that got started. There weren't many, you know, I got disrupted, and so I carried on. And so this video is going to be about my WIPs. The next video, I am going to introduce you to my kitted items. Yes, I have lots of those too. And the problem I have, I mean, if I lived in a perfect world, it would be that every project I'm working on would have an appropriately matched project bag with an appropriate needle minder and a snippety. So that's not possible, as I am kind of getting, I don't know what an appropriate amount of project bags are. Are cross stitchers becoming the, you know, like I think of how many back, when was it that Imelda Marcos, when they had on the news about how many shoes that she had, I'm beginning to worry about how many project bags I have. Like, can one have too many project bags? I don't know. I don't know the answer. But before we get to that, I wanted to tell you a story. I want to tell you a story, and it is my story. And the reason I'm telling it to you is to address our world, that we have made incremental steps in our world. I have seen little bits in my own world, but just so you know, we cannot give up the commitment and the fight to change the world to a better place for our children and our grandchildren. That's why I'm telling you this story, because you guys all know me. And from the comments I get, it seems like you like what I'm doing, you know. And I want to say up front that you do not have to leave me a comment about this story. This particular story. I have moved way beyond this story, and but it is part of my history, and so I'm going to share it with you. Just so you know, it wasn't in history. It wasn't way far back. I mean, there are so many stories. I was raised by a father who very much knew racial prejudice. He was Caucasian, but he very much was aware of it, and he raised me in such a way that I was very much aware of it. I was informed from day, as early as my memories could take me. I was taught by my dad where I could go, what I could do, and who wasn't going to like me. And that was an amazing tool, because I grew up and I raised my children the same way, that you don't have to like everybody, and everybody is not going to like you. But it's still, you want to be liked by everybody. You just do. So let me take you back to not too far distant past of 1989. I'm telling you, 1989. I had 2 children. I was a labor and delivery nurse. I had moved to a new town. I was on the night shift. I was there was only like a couple of nurses scheduled at night because the census wasn't that big in this town. But I had a patient who delivered a beautiful baby. But it became apparent to me that the father of this baby was very angry at me. And I had no understanding. I had no understanding of it because, not bragging here, I was a good nurse. I was a good nurse, and I loved my job, and I loved every baby. So, and I thought every birth was a freaking miracle. Every birth I attended as a labor and delivery nurse, I would go, oh my God, how did this happen? How in the world does this happen? So, but I could tell that there was an issue. And when I moved her to her postpartum room, he proceeded to tell me I couldn't touch his wife or touch his baby. That he didn't want that Jap nurse to touch his wife or his baby. I was stunned. This is 1989. And he slept on the floor at the foot of her bed with a hunting knife on his chest and wouldn't let me in the room all night. Now, I have to admit that I was ashamed. I didn't know how to respond, and I was embarrassed and ashamed that there was something about me that provoked this level of hatred. And naturally, I cried most of the night. I circled that room all the time, peeking in and being afraid, but not being able to touch the mom or the baby. It was a horrific experience for me. And I wasn't a new nurse. Finally, at 4 in the morning, the doctor came in early to round on his patients. And I will forever love this man. Because naturally I was crying. When I told him my experience all night, he wasn't a real volatile kind of man. He was a gentleman. He was a real gentleman. And he looked at me and he said, okay. And he walked in that room. I don't know what was said. But I do know that he came out and he said, they're discharged this moment. If they're not going to be cared for, they have no reason to be here. And at 4 in the morning, this family was discharged out of the hospital. I forever will love that man because he gave me my sense of, okay, this was not right. This was not right. There's nothing wrong with me. So I just want you to understand that what's going on today, someone's going to look in 10 years and say, oh, back in 2020, this happened to me. It's our present. It's our present. It's happening in our present. And we have to stand up. We have to stand up. So that's my story. One of many, many stories, let me tell you. But I don't want you to, don't feel you have to need to comment about it, or I just want you to take it as a gift that I'm giving you. That you are part of my tribe, and we have to be good people to each other. We have to listen to each other. And this is the only way that we can move forward. So there you go. Now we're on to the WIPs. So I guess I should start with, well, I finished one WIP, so I won't show you that again. WIPs are work in progress, not finishes. Well, let me tell you the one I'm the most proud of right now. I'm getting close. Look at here. Oh my gosh, I can hardly stand it. You know, it's at that point where it's really hard to pick up something else because you could just almost taste it. But this is the Motto Sampler by Heartstring Samplery. I have no idea. I know that it's a 32 count, but I have no idea what this fabric is. I do know that I tea dyed it with cinnamon tea. And I decided to make this a commemoration to my first and only cross-stitch retreat. Hopefully not my last. For Fall Fling last fall at Acorns and Threads, sponsored by Acorns and Threads. And so and know that Beth Twist, who does this, who has, her pattern is this motto sampler, she will chart any motto you want in there. She has one that's hysterical, so you might just want to do that one. But you can, if you buy the pattern, you can have her chart out. Otherwise, that particular quote, let me show it to you again. That particular quote you can get from Acorns and Threads. They have the chart. If you buy the pattern from them, they have the charted motto. I was a cross-stitcher before cross-stitching was cool. Okay, so I've not been really good on my sals. I have two sals, and one is the Little House Needleworks Suffrage, and that is being sponsored by the Stitching with the Sisterlies, which if you have not seen their floss tube, you'll enjoy it. It's two sisters, so you can only imagine. So I think you would enjoy it very much. But here I am. You know, they're all done with theirs. In fact, Colleen did it twice, I think. And here I am. I do plan to get it done before November, though. I would like it to be on display at my home during November. Okay, next. Trees. This is the La Foresta de France Renato Parolin. They have a Etsy shop. And I'm going to undo it so you can see the whole, and I stitch in hand, so things get rolled up. But oh my gosh, let me get that open. So there I am. And this is barely halfway. I know, is that not the craziest thing? Barely halfway. And I did, let me look here. I did this little bush right here. So I did stitch on that on Tuesday. This is my, I gotta touch it. I don't have to stitch on it all day Tuesday, but I have to have stitched something on it on Tuesdays. And on this particular one, I use these what we call in the quilting world binding clips, and I clip the rolled up part, and then I just hold it in hand and I stitch along on it. I will put the name of all of these in the description box, but you'll have to Google to find them. I do know that there is an Etsy shop from Renato Parolin. Actually, let's see, do I have, yeah, I have 3 Sals. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So the next Sal I have is an Owl Forestry, and it is a free pattern. It's the Wizard of Oz. And you can go on the Owl Forestry site and download it for yourself. And I have finished page 2. So with that scarecrow and the yellow bricks, I am now moving on to page 3. So that is how wide it is. Now I start going upwards. So that was kind of fun to finish a page. I have not done I've not redone Dorothy's face yet, but I'm waiting till the end to see how much I want her to look like everybody else, but we shall see. So I did a little stitching on that. This one here was my one of my mania. This one I'm doing for G, and that's a Tumbleweeds by Little House. Let's see, where am I on that? Oh yeah, I'm still on the wagon. Okay. Oh, well, you know, my little gnomes. Jardin, Prive, and I just love that. And I had to laugh because, you know, I said this was a little baby carriage with a baby gnome. I'm making this into a baby sampler. And a few of you pointed out that that was an old gnome that was asleep in a wheelbarrow. And you know, you might be right. In fact, I think you are right. But I am making it into a baby gnome. I am going to not have the big long beard. Because babies don't have beards. Well, they could have milk though. So we'll see. Isn't that cute? That's so freaking cute. I have to say, this is the funnest stitch I've had in a while. I mean, it's like a real satisfying stitch because you have all those little motifs that get done. Okay, moving along. My birthday stitch. And this is a Stony Creek Harvest Blessings. Isn't that gorgeous? Yeah. And so I have committed to stitching on this every on the 7th of every month because that's the day of my birthday, is 7, and I'm doing pretty good. you know, it might get to the point where I can't stand just waiting for the 7th. I might. And I am doing this one on a Q-snap, and it was back in the days when I started with the Q-snap, and so I thought I better finish this one with the Q-snap. I wondered if my stitching would be different, but I absolutely love the silhouettes. I love the color. This has to be done before fall because I absolutely need to hang it up or do something with it, you know. I have not touched this thing in forever, but now that Mania is over, I am going to get back to it. But that's where I left off, and that's those little house Frosty Forest, and so I am doing it all as one, not individual little charts, so it's a big piece, but I just love that. I'm not normally a blue person, and so it's just kind of something different for me to do, something different. This one, I couldn't find the cover of it, but it's Spell of the Moon by Blackbird. Yeah, and I am only that far. I am only that far. Yeah. It's, yeah. Oh, and the Korean people. This is a Soda Stitch pattern. Soda Stitch. I'm doing 6 of them. And I need to get moving on this thing because this is a birthday gift for this year. But you know, I just got the bottom of the next little girl's dress. So cute. I just love them. And I have found that I am back stitching as I go along. You know, once I finish a little person, I back stitch them because I don't want to just have hours of back stitching at the end. But I really think it needs back stitching. I mean, it makes such a difference. Oh, I feel kind of bad about this one. This one I have not touched since I left Arizona. And the reason being is I realized I used the wrong color. And it's the Blueflower. Oh, Sleeping Bee. And I think I got so bummed at myself. It's on 40 count. And that's where I left off. I realized that that body was supposed to be like a grayish color, not the black color. And I couldn't decide if I wanted to rip out 40 count, but you know, it might be worth it. You know, it might be worth it because I absolutely love this one. And then finally, my last WIP. So how many WIPs? Well, we'll count at the end. My last WIP is a Sal that I was doing with Becca from SamBrie Stitches. And I still have my upside down Santa there, but this is how far I've gotten on that. And I think I might save this as one of my Jolly July work on, finish it up in July, you know, when everybody does their Christmas thing. And this is a Waxing Moon pattern, Search the Sky. So let's see, how many does that make? How many? Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Are you counting with me? Are you counting with me? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, I feel so much better because, you know, yesterday Erin from Two Martini Stitches hosted a Zoom stitch. I just love when I can make a Zoom stitch because you get to stitch with everybody that's not in your neighborhood. You know, not that you don't love your neighbors, but it's just enjoyable to hear about other people's lives and how life is going on for them, where they're at and what they're stitching on. And so Erin hosted the Zoom stitch yesterday, and she started 21 new starts. Yeah, my mouth dropped open. 21 in May. That doesn't include the WIPs that she might have. Of course, she's a prolific stitcher and gets a lot done. So yeah, I keep turning my back to you because I'm turning around looking at this pile over here. I wanted to show you before we go 2 downloads that I did. One was a free download, which I absolutely, I loved it, and I immediately downloaded it. But the other is Michelle Bendy Stitches. She talked about on her floss tube the Tiny Modernists Halloween Ouija. And I don't know about you, but my girlfriend Colleen and I, we were freaked about the Ouija board when we were in high school. We freaked out about it. I mean, oh my gosh. You know, so when I saw this 5-part mystery series, and I don't know how, but she says she's seen it, and she says it's awesome. So I thought, oh, I just need to do that. And, you know, like 1 part comes out every month, and it's 5 parts. And so I downloaded the Tiny Modernists Ouija board Stitch of the Month for 5 months. This is the welcome package. 5 secret sections. Ooh. And then I saw on Facebook that the Stitching Book Club, I guess you can join the Stitching Book Club, and they do stitching in relation to different books that they read. But the person who mentors that site posted a free chart that I absolutely said I had to stitch. And it's called Blackbird. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. And it was a free download off of if you go to the Facebook for the Stitching Book Club, you can get that. And it was, this is a Beatles song that commemorated the 1960s racial riots and tension. So it's, I just loved it, so I knew I was going to be doing that too. Well, that's it. That's the WIP Parade. So stay tuned. I'll give you some updates on what I worked on in the next video, but the next video, I think I want to acknowledge my kitted items. Yeah. So I think if I show you, they become more real to me, if that makes any sense. So you guys take care, be safe, be kind to one another, and we'll see you next time. So long. Bye.